Atiku played against him in the PDP 2023 political primary. And that's what I'm saying. It looks very dicey, isn't it? But it looks like they are very strong candidate that could be the flag bearer.
I think almost certainly, and I'm guessing now, if ADC goes to convention, and it almost certainly will, and it will only because that's what Vice President Atiku wants. He will get the ticket. And then a lot of people will walk out. Because a lot of people are in that party only for the same thing. They want the ticket. So then ADC will have its own problems. But you raise the issue about the similarity and the weaker experience and what Peter Obi needs to understand. One of the reasons I think Peter Obi is saying, hey, listen, look at me. This is Peter Obi. I'm not here for number 2. I'm not here for convention. I'm here to fly the flag. And he's getting people who are saying to him, initially in whispers and politely, and now they're saying to him, listen, join the queue. You're not the only one with ambition here. Look around you in this room. There are 1 or 2 people who have been here from day one. And they're sitting there waiting. And you're walking here and saying, Peter Obi doesn't do conventions. Or he just goes there to be anointed. So ADC will bleed after its convention because almost certainly Vice President Atiku will get the ticket.
And when he does?
And when he does, some people will walk out. Because
that's might crumble.
It will be severely damaged.
Akim Baba Ahmed was the special advisor to President Tinubu on political matters. Baba Ahmed, who was appointed in 2023 to serve under the office of Vice President Kashim Shettima as a special advisor on political matters, resigned from his position in April. Speaking on Channels Television Politics Today, Baba Ahmed have argued that the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration lacked the zeal to fix Nigeria. Hakim Baba Ahmed also threw a warning about Atiku Abubakar. It was a diagnosis of his take on coalition politics in Nigeria. At the heart of his argument is this reality, that ADC is fast becoming a shelter for presidential ambitions, not a unified ideological movement. According to him, when too many heavyweights enter a party for the same price, the party structure becomes fragile. Baba Ahmed argues that if ADC holds a national convention, Atiku is almost guaranteed to win. This is not necessarily because of popularity alone, but because Atiku understands party machinery, he has delegates and resources, he thrives in competitive conventions. However, that same strength becomes a weakness for the party. Once Atiku clinches the ticket, other aspirants who joined ADC with presidential hopes will feel sidelined and betrayed. Nigerian political parties hold a gentleman agreement about zoning his presidential ticket to the south, but whether Atiku will accept to respect that agreement is the main bone of contention at the moment. If Atiku Abubakar doesn't respect the zoning formula, then it will result to a lot of fragmentation within the ADC and loss of momentum before 2027 election. Baba Ahmed's comments on Peter Obi are especially striking because they touch a nerve many have avoided publicly. His argument is not that Obi lacks ambition or popularity, but that his political style is fundamentally different from the environment a coalition like ADC creates. Peter Obi is more comfortable in the political spaces where consensus precedes competition. His rise in recent years has been driven less by internal party battles and more by moral authority, public sentiment, and negotiated acceptance. In such settings, the candidate is not forged through bruising primaries but presented as the obvious choice, almost as a movement symbol rather than a party product. According to Baba Ahmed, that approach works when a party is weak and needs a face and other contenders voluntarily step aside. Now, there is a shared belief that unity matters more than personal ambition, but ADC is not that kind of space. ADC is a crowded room filled with seasoned politicians who did not come to admire Obi's popularity. They came to win power. In such an environment, the expectation of being anointed in quotes becomes risky. Once the conversation shifts from how do we unite in quotes to who has the delegate, goodwill quickly evaporates. This is why Baba Ahmed says friction is inevitable once Obi is told to join the queue. That moment represents a cultural clash. It is the collision between movement politics and machine politics, and between moral persuasion and raw numbers. And in Nigerian politics as it is, numbers usually win. The danger for Obi is not rejection, but delusionment. The slow realization that coalition politics does not reward symbolism the way popular movements do. The danger for ADC is that, on the other hand, forcing such a contest without clear rules and shared expectation could alienate Obi's support base, creating bitterness that lingers long after the convention is over. In a coalition where everyone wants the crown, consensus is not assumed, it is negotiated, and once negotiation fails, ambition takes over. That is the fragile space ADC now occupies, caught between Obi's consensus culture and the ruthless logic of competitive primaries. Atiku must respect zoning, not because zoning is perfect, but because coalitions survive on trust, not brute strength. In a fragile political arrangement like the ADC, zoning is the unwritten contract that reassures every bloc that power will rotate, voices will be heard, and no region will dominate the process. Once that understanding is broken, suspicion replaces cooperation and unity quickly collapses. Atiku Abubakar may argue correctly that democracy allows anyone to contest and that conventions, not sentiment, choose candidates. But coalition politics is not pure democracy. It is managed compromise. Ignoring zoning in such a setting is not neutrality, it is escalation. For many within the ADC, especially in the South, Atiku's insistence on contesting again raises a fundamental question. What has really changed? If the opposition is offering the same power pattern Nigerians have seen repeatedly, then the promise of new direction in quotes rings hollow. This is why Peter Obi's supporters have been urging Atiku to step down on X. It is not personal hostility, it is fear. Fear that the coalition will fracture. Fear that zoning will be sacrificed on the altar of personal ambition. And fear that 2027 will be lost before it even begins. If Atiku bulldozes his way to the ticket, the consequences may not be immediate, but they will be real. Quiet withdrawals by key actors like Peter Obi and his obedient movement will not accept Atiku being the party candidate for the 2027 election because they believe that it is the turn of the South, and by that, Obi should be the party candidate. And they have expressed that in so many ways. If Atiku clinches the ticket, he may experience lukewarm campaigns by delusioned supporters. A divided opposition facing a disciplined ruling party like the APC cannot fly in such state. Atiku does not need to exit politics to make history. He needs to protect the coalition by respecting zoning this time around. Because winning a ticket at the cost of unity is not victory. It is the beginning of defeat. I hope he has learned something from his days in the PDP, because it was the same zoning formula that led the PDP to where it is today. This is Impact Media. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video. I will see you again in the next video. Thank you.